Okay, good morning. I'm going to go over this one more time. Okay? James chapter 2. You foolish person, do you want proof that faith without deeds is dead? Was not our father Abraham considered righteous for what he did when, at the time, he sacrificed his son Isaac on the altar? You see that his faith was working along with his deeds, right? In order for his faith to come to fruition. And so the scripture was fulfilled. Abraham, and it was actually Abram, believed God, and it was credited to him for righteousness. So you see that a man is not considered righteous for just by faith alone, but also for his deeds. This was what James said. Now, if you look at it, Genesis chapter 15 was when Abraham was considered righteous. He was considered righteous when he believed God, not when he sacrificed Isaac on the altar. This was before he was circumcised. He was circumcised in Genesis chapter 17. He sacrificed his son Isaac in Genesis chapter 22. So when James says you see that a man is justified by his actions and not by faith alone, and saying that he was justified or he was considered righteous by his works, it contradicts Moses, because Moses said Abraham believed God and it was reckoned to him as righteousness in Genesis chapter 15. When he was told that he was going to receive an inheritance and he was going to have a son. He was told that he was going to have a son, and that he was going to have an inheritance, heirs. And when he believed God, it was accredited to him as righteousness before he was circumcised and before he sacrificed or he offered his son Isaac on the altar. Paul said this righteousness was accredited to him in Romans chapter 4 before he was circumcised or after. Paul emphatically says that the righteousness that was accredited to Abraham or Abram was when he believed, and that was before he was circumcised, when his name was Abram, and his name was not even Abraham yet, and it was before Isaac was born, because he was accredited righteousness at the time that God told him this. Now, in Genesis chapter 22, and somebody said, well, wouldn't a Berean go to Genesis chapter 22 and say, well, because you've done this, because you've offered your son Isaac on the altar, I will now fulfill the idea that I'm going to make you heirs, and the nations are going to happen. Yeah, but you see, that's disingenuous. Abraham was considered righteous at the time he believed. But the fulfillment of his belief was his action. And I'm not disputing that at all. And you say, well, that's what James was talking about. No. James said you're considered righteous by your actions. And that contradicts Moses and Paul, because Paul said he was considered righteous before he made this action, and Moses said he was considered righteous when he believed in Genesis chapter 15. Thank you.